I'd like to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to celebrate with us today the opening of the first Family Justice Centre in these islands. Today marks another significant landmark in Foyle Women's Aid 46 history of grassroots activism and challenging violence against women, children, and the inequalities which surround that violence. The existence of such violence and the associated inequalities has been and remains our motivation to develop progressive and innovative ways to address the abuse and create a delivery model which empowers women and supports their children. Today, I'm particularly proud that Foyle Women's Aid have led the way in bringing this groundbreaking collaborative model from the United States back home to this city. I'm even more delighted that it is the first purpose-built Family Justice Centre in these islands. Every aspect of the Family Justice Centre has been carefully designed in line with international best practice and shared by the Alliance for Hope and guided by other models servicing areas with similar demographics. We did our homework. I would like to thank Casey Gwynn and Gail Strack, who have been so generous with their support, mentoring and advice in developing our centre. We look forward to not only continuing that relationship, but building our learning from the best practitioners in the field. In creating, designing and generating our model, we have invested in training and guidance of Dr. Karen Tresman. Karen is an expert in trauma, adversity and culturally informed practice. This guidance will be an immense benefit as we roll out our approach and build our everyday collaborative interagency model. This trauma-informed guidance is already built into physical design and interior furniture within the building. Trauma-informed practices will be incorporated into everyday policy, ethos and everything we do. Today we will hear from Professor Chan Hellman on the science of hope. Chan is no stranger to the city and is at this stage a valued friend to Foyle Family Justice Centre. Chan has worked closely with Joe Cochrane, Support Services Manager, and our team of specifically trained support navigators in the design of specific tools to measure hope outcomes. These tools will help ensure provision of trauma-informed pathways, increase hope, and improve the overall services for all survivors and their children. Today represents both an ending and a beginning. The physical build phase of our journey has been completed, thank God. Today, our shared journey begins towards the delivery of a changed but more effective person-centred approach. To all those on-site agencies that have been involved so far, I want to say this. We have come so far on our journey and we will encounter challenges ahead as we build and promise better services. But I am certain that we will reach our destination because we will all work together in a partnership that has a common purpose of improving the outcomes for victims and survivors. And I was heartened to note that everybody today had that theme, so we're on our way because the thought systems are there. Our joint efforts will create a pathway to justice and freedom for those that suffer under the tyranny, and it is tyranny, of domestic abuse in any or all of its forms. As we move to the next phase of our journey, I want to take a few minutes to thank several people. So bear with me because there were a lot of people to thank. They have played a major part in helping bring what started as a vision to a reality. Along the way, I had the company and committed support of key champions who shared our belief that a better day should and would be achieved. They shared the vision that human rights and justice can be achieved if we approach them more collaboratively and thoughtfully. Judge McElhone, Barney, to us all, and Damien McAteer were instrumental in helping me get this project off the ground and have remained committed despite the challenges, and there were many. Judge McElhone used to say to me, you know, Mary, they call you that woman. And I had the great pleasure of saying, you know, Barney, they're calling you that man now. The journey was a convoluted one, as the pathways out of domestic abuse are, but we are here. Alison Kilpatrick gave her time, her expertise, and is already leading on crucial research that will be completed in the autumn. Alison has supported the development from the onset. Thank you, Alison. David Sterling, head of the Northern Ireland Civil Service, who stepped up and made the financial commitment that was required to build the Family Justice Centre and ensured that the process was completed before he left for retirement. Thank you, David. What a legacy for a man to leave here. Peter May, for understanding the need for change and lending his support to the project and all aspects of the work. Mark Durkin Sr., the former MP, who intervened to get Foyle Women's Aid some development money for this project. And everybody that runs project knows the first bit of money is important. And I camped out at Mark's office every Friday. I could have been done for stalking, only there was no legislation. Geraldine O'Hare and Aisling Swain, who got involved in partnership work and research. The Housing Executive Innovation Fund, which helped us greatly at early development stages. I'd like to thank the ministers involved, Naomi Long, Minister for Justice, and Deirdre Hargey, Minister for Communities, for their ongoing support and their commitment to tackling all forms of domestic abuse. Sharon McCullough, who has been a conduit civil servant, keeping us all right, and she knows how we like to misbehave. If we work together with enlightened policies and committed ethical partners, we can make serious and systematic inroads in eradicating domestic abuse across Northern Ireland. I would also like to thank Bernie Crossan and the Supporting People team, who have worked in partnership with us for a long time and have supported Foyle Women's Aid in leading innovation. The nine much-needed accommodation units alongside the Justice Centre are a prime example of what can be done for vulnerable families, homeless because of abuse. And people think about domestic violence and they forget about the homelessness that also accompanies the victims and survivors. And it's important that we address both together. Apex, with whom we have had a relationship for over 30 years in planning and developing joint properties and beautiful properties across the city. A big thank you to Siobhan Porter for all her support in what was a challenging project build. The builders, Brenton Lochran and Sons, who built us a fine building under very difficult COVID conditions, working to the design of Paul Griffiths from Michael Whitley Architects. Allstate, who have been amazing support to whom Women's Aid regionally and to Foyle Women's Aid Dress for Success project, and have funded the fit-out of the client areas and the FJC Centre. And it's great to see businesses stand up and support us because they really make a difference, and we encourage any business that's in here to do the same for Women's Aid, Foyle and regional. I would like to thank the Foyle Women's Aid Board for years for their ongoing work and commitment to the development and governance of our services. A particular mention to Eileen Webster, our current chairperson, who was one of the women involved in the constitution of Foyle Women's Aid in the 70s. When a radical approach was required, these women acted. And when I talk about a radical approach, they squatted into a building in Pump Street, the one we still have, they took it over, and that's how Women's Aid Services began. So we stole a building. Through the collaborative delivery of the Family Justice Centre, we will be the action and change required today to tackle the epidemic of domestic abuse we are experiencing in this city and cities across the world. A big thank you to Susie McInerney, one of our newest board members with her PR company Lemonade, who is already doing a fantastic job and will make sure that you will be reading all about the Family Justice Centre events for the next couple of days. I would like to acknowledge the incredible Foyle Women's Aid team who have contributed so much to those so vulnerable in this community. During COVID, not only did services not close, they increased. Keeping women and children safe was and is a daily focus. They truly keep hope alive and will continue by example in the Family Justice Centre. Foyle Women's Aid have always been successful in attracting very skilled and talented people who remain very committed to our cause. Our management team are a prime example of this. They not only supervise and support their teams, but have a highly active role in the innovation and development of service. They are Jo Cochrane, Ciara McDonough, Roisin Hamill, Sarah Quinn, and of course Louisa Young, who you probably all know, who keeps us all organised and is a tremendous support to me. I'd like to thank Julie Allen, consultant, who has had a long relationship with Foyle Women's Aid and has supported the consultation process and the development of our strategy for the Family Justice Centre. Your energy and commitment kept me going, Julie, in difficult days. Thank you. Of course, no event would be complete without us mentioning the women and children and young people who remain at the heart of everything we do, and we will continue that ethos for all survivors within the Family Justice Centre. I'd like to pay tribute to our Voices Forum, who, despite all the difficulties they have encountered, still find their time in their busy lives to give back. Their contribution to this organisation and to others is valued. Their motivation to help improve experiences for women coming behind them is astonishing. Stepping up to improve life for others and speaking out against injustice will have a ripple effect of hope and influence change that will eventually happen. Today you will hear a powerful account from Foyle Women's Voices Forum, who have been instrumental to lobbying and campaigning processes within Foyle Women's Aid, both locally and regionally. They never cease to inspire us all. Unfortunately, we do not have the Young Persons Voices Forum with us today due to the school commitments. They were all so keen, they even volunteered to stay off school. We do have their artwork displayed in the corridor. They have been busy for weeks with Void Gallery, so please do not miss the artwork. We are delighted to announce the news that we were successful in a lottery funding bid empowering young people. A 5-year project will start here in the city, which will support the development of the first Camp Hope project based on these islands. The project is aimed at children and young people exposed to domestic violence. The project will address these issues through outdoor activities designed to increase self-esteem, resilience and hope. The young people attending Pod 15 on-site facilities were all involved in the design phase and are extremely excited about the project. They attended interviews with funders. They made their own case for the project. One 10-year-old said, "Did they not get it? Did they not know how difficult domestic violence is?" And I think that's an indictment on us all, that children have to make a case for services. They need to be there. But thankfully he made the case and we're putting them there. We're also proud of them. A big thank you to Lorraine Gallen, lottery project manager, who I don't think had any choice after she heard our young voices but to grant us the money. Thank you. We have already begun to establish an interagency group to plan and share expertise and deliver the best opportunities we can in partnership with children and young people in the North West. This will break the cycle of domestic abuse and empower our young people. We look forward to the continued support from the local community. The generosity and goodwill we receive from people here in the Foyle area is actually overwhelming, and that's just individuals. Individuals come in and do loads of things and are very kind to us, and they need a mention too, and we really appreciate that. And finally, having thanked everyone, I would like to say that our approach to address the issue of domestic abuse is by building culture of zero tolerance of all abuse. I will steal a quote from George Bernard Shaw when he said, "Some see things as they are and say why. We here in Foyle Women's Aid see things that have never been and say why not." That quote will guide us within the Justice Centre as we strive to build fairer and more just services for our people. Thank you.